Good morning, friends. It is Monday, January the 18th. Good to see you. Welcome to another morning devotion from Sarin United Church of Christ. On Mondays, I'm reading some selections from this book, Whistling in the Dark, a Doubter's Dictionary by my favorite writer, Frederick Buechner. And I'm just pretty much picking willy-nilly, or not entirely random, but for my own devices, which of these reflections that I'm reading. And so this week, probably because of my own journey, I'm going to read this selection that is his reflection on depression. I'm pretty open that in my mid-20s I had a really rough bout of a severe depression, and so ever since I pay really close attention to my mental health and where I stand and how I'm doing. And if ever I have 3 days in a row that are what I call gray days, then I'm pretty proactive. I don't want to be clinically depressed again. And so there's some things I've learned how to do over the years to make sure that doesn't happen. So, big advocate for mental health. If you struggle with depression or think you might or have questions about it, please reach out to me. I really feel like that's part of how we eventually beat depression, as we get over the stigma of it. But anyway, this is Frederick Buechner's reflection on that word, and I found it pretty powerful. I want to share it with you. One of the most precious of the Psalms seems to be one of the least known, as well as one of the shortest. It is the 131st. O Lord, my heart is not lifted up, is the way it begins. My eyes are not raised too high. I do not occupy myself with things too great and too marvelous for me. To be in a state of depression is like that. It is to be unable to occupy yourself with anything much except your state of depression. Even the most marvelous thing is like music to the deaf. Even the greatest thing is like a shower of stars to the blind. You do not raise either your heart or your eyes to the heights, because to do so only reminds you that you are yourself in the depths. Even if, like the psalmist, you are inclined to cry out, O Lord, it is a cry like Jonah's from the belly of a whale. But I have calmed and quieted my soul, he continues. Then, and you can't help thinking that although maybe that's better than nothing, it's not much better. Depression is itself a kind of calm, as in becalmed, and a kind of quiet, as in quiet despair. Only then do you discover that he is speaking of something entirely different. He says it twice to make sure everybody understands. Like a child quieted at its mother's breasts, he says, and then again, like a child that is quieted is my soul. A kind of blessed languor that comes with being filled and somehow also fulfilled. The sense that no dark time that has ever been and no dark time that will ever be can touch this true and only time. Shalom. Something like that is the calm and quiet he has found. And the Lord in whom he has found it is the Lady Mother of us all. It is from her breast that he has drunk to his soul's quieting. Finally, he tells us that hope is what his mouth is milky with, hope, which is to the hopelessness of depression, that love is to the love sickness and lovelornness of fear. O Israel, hope in the Lord, he says, from this time forth and forevermore. Hope like Israel, hope for deliverance the way Israel hoped, and you already are half delivered. Hope beyond hope, and like Israel in Egypt, in Babylon, in Dachau, you hope also beyond the bounds of your own captivity, which is what depression is. Hope in the Father, who is the Mother, the Lady, who is the Lord. Do not raise your eyes too high, but lower them to that holy place within you where you are fed and quieted. So that innermost manger where you are yourself, the child. My friends, perhaps you find yourself today in the midst of what you would call a depression. Severe, mild, clinical or not. Our church fathers have experienced this. Even kings like David And they put these Psalms and these other passages in Scripture to tell us what it's like to get through them. And this one, the 131st Psalm, is a beautiful psalm, not only about depression, but about what it's like to get through depression by trusting in God, by letting Him fill your spirit and quiet you. May all of us who suffer today, who have our eyes down and find ourselves in the least bit of despair, understand that God is with us and for us and wants to feed us and fill us because He loves us. Have a blessed day, my friends.